Welcome back to Comic Book Straight Talk. This is Captain Dalian.
This is Eric the Knucklehead Eaton.
Terry the French Tickler French.
Captain Dalian, what are we going to go over on today's show?
We're gonna just kind of pull some topics out of the hat here. You two have seen it. I haven't had a chance to see it yet. What was your all's thoughts on the Suicide Squad movie?
Well, let me just mention first off, which we normally forget.
Yes, there will be spoilers. So
throughout these topics, there will be spoilers. So if we start a topic that you're interested in and you don't want to be spoiled, you might want to skip ahead to the next topic.
Or you can listen to it and enjoy it after you see the movie as well.
Or read the book.
They have books. This is
Really?
a comic book show.
No, matter of fact, this movie was based off a comic book. Did you know that?
Right. So Suicide Squad, I liked it. It wasn't the best DC movie I've ever seen, but it wasn't the worst. But I thought it was pretty good. There was a few parts, like I was talking about earlier, the El Diablo was a little goofy at the end when he transformed, and Enchantress was a little goofy.
When enchanting.
She was really cool. She did a lot of she could teleport and all that.
Really?
She could teleport anywhere, she's seen or thought of before, and then she just dies the easiest way in the world. She gets tricked, and a bunch of Suicide Squad members beat her up. I thought she died a little too easy.
I thought it was just okay. I mean, like you said, it wasn't great. It wasn't terrible, but it's very heavily flawed. It's very disjointed. It doesn't seem to have any direction. A lot of the characters were not necessarily the best representation of the comic book characters.
I wish they could have kept out Slipknot. You didn't see much with him, and Captain Boomerang. I would have been fine with that, and I think they could have developed the story better.
Now, see, that's exactly kind of what I've been hearing. Like I said, again, I haven't seen it, but I have heard that those two characters were kind of wasted, as of Killer Croc was kind of wasted.
Yeah, Killer Croc
was kind of wasted. Well, it was mainly Will Smith's Deadshot and Harley Quinn seemed to be the big two to me.
Okay,
Right.
The big question, because I was a big Heath Ledger fan, as a Joker. How did Jared Leto do as a Joker? Terry?
I still like. Oh, go
Sorry.
ahead.
No,
go ahead,
sorry,
Terry.
Knucklehead. Didn't mean to knock you out. Get you out there.
It was passable. I didn't think it was great.
Okay, so on a Joker scale, you've got
He's going 3 mics.
You got Caesar
This is
Romero.
a Joker scale.
he's
This is a
three
hot
Jokers.
Haas. How many hot Haas do you get?
No. You got Caesar Romero, Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger. Where would Leto fall in between those?
Who is Caesar Romero your number one? Because he wouldn't shave his mustache. Caesar Romero, I liked. Just
Like I
we all
said, to
grew up
me,
with him.
the Joker was Heath Ledger.
Yeah, me too.
Right.
So,
he was the
I like
best
him.
Joker so far, which surprised me because
So that kind of says right there. You've got Caesar Romero, who I didn't think was that great of a Joker. Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger.
Jack Nicholson's Joker was kind of harking back to the TV show Joker.
In a
So
sense, yeah.
I can't really. It's kind of hard to compare that one to the newer ones where they're trying to do it more comic book. So
this Jared Leto, the way he played, I mean, you believe the Joker was crazy.
I wouldn't want to see him
In a dark alley.
I wouldn't want to see Jared Leto do the role again.
I mean, I wouldn't let him put a smile on my face. So,
And how did Margaret Robbie,
as Harley
Harley
Quinn,
Quinn, how did she
she
do?
did good. I thought she was pretty spot on. Terry
It was okay, but it's not my Harley Quinn. And Harley Quinn hasn't been my Harley Quinn in a while in the comic books either.
Right, because now she's got the hot pants and the sports, the athletic kind of bra looking thing. And
She's a little bit. My Harley Quinn was basically from the animated show
right.
and the early comics.
Right.
And she had this air of innocence about her. And I've talked to my friends about this for a long time. Now she's a little trashy.
She's kind of like the Skanko.
Right.
I wouldn't.
I mean, in a sense, yeah. I mean, she's gone from the kind of innocent, carrying the mallet around.
She really did.
Pudding to
In the early animation, the early comics, she didn't think she was doing bad. She was just,
you got to look at the time period though
with the
too.
Joker.
right.
Right.
That time period, that wouldn't have flown over
So
well.
what does that say about our society too? Then
We're going down. What are you talking about?
we're going down.
Okay,
fast.
so
down.
how do you think that this is the second DC movie that has kind of, I don't want to say flopped, but not really embraced how they want it to do, I don't think. How does this look for Justice League?
I think it's but a lot of people are not looking forward to Justice League with these two failures.
I think if they develop the characters in Justice League like they did Suicide Squad, it will be another just meh movie.
And see, another thing I've heard is that it was cut, really, but it was a bad cut. So maybe we'll get a director's cut, like an Ultimate Edition, that'll fix it.
You were talking about they cut out the guy in Scotland.
Yes.
There's a guy who traveled. There's a story I read. He traveled all the way from Scotland to London, I guess, for the premiere of it. and he went in to watch it based off all the scenes that he had seen in the online and on TV, the trailers, and a lot of the scenes from the trailers were cut out. And he was specifically came looking for those scenes. That's what enticed him to go see the movie and to travel all the way from Scotland to London to go see this. And when he didn't see these, he was a little upset about it. He asked for his money back. The theater wouldn't give him his money back and kicked him out.
He was laughed at.
He was laughed at
by people.
Laughed at by people, and so he's thinking about filing a lawsuit, not to get a lot of money, but just to get his theater ticket money back.
Well, he thought about doing a class action lawsuit about it.
He's got to pay
right.
$2,500 to get his $12 ticket back.
Well, his brother's a lawyer.
Oh, there you go.
That's the thing.
Right.
Yes, his brother.
Hopefully his brother won't charge him.
So yeah, a lot of scenes it was edited poorly, and it was just disjointed. It didn't seem to be any direction in the movie. They were just dropped off, and they were told to do one thing, but then they just didn't know what they were doing.
Well, I think the difference that Marvel's done versus DC, if you compare Suicide Squad, the team of members, versus Avengers, all the Avengers basically have had their own standalones. You've had Ant-Man. He had his own standalone.
Right.
You had an Incredible Hulk. He's had his. They weren't the greatest by any means. Iron Man's had his own standalone. Thor's had his own standalone. But those characters were individually developed, and when they came to Avengers, they meshed pretty well.
They already had a fan base.
You had
Black
Widow.
I thought Ant-Man, for him being a C-list character, was a great movie.
Oh, I loved it. I loved Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Hulk, I didn't like either version.
Yeah. No.
The big steroided dogs were a little much.
Yeah, the first one was not too good. I did like the second one.
The second one was more
was
psychological in a way, but yeah.
But going back to Suicide Squad, again, this thing I harp on is they didn't do it as bad in this one, but they still had to give like a little origin story for everybody.
Right.
You don't need that. You don't need an origin story for everybody. We go and see tons of movies that aren't superhero movies with these ensemble cast, and they don't go and delve into each person's back history. They just tell a story. And
with the Deadshot, I think, because it gives his back history on his caring of his daughter. You didn't need that. You could have cut to the scene where he's in the alley and Batman swoops down, and his daughter begs and pleads, "Don't shoot, don't shoot." Just go with Batman and get arrested. That could have been a story, and then people connected and like, okay, he's an assassin because we've already seen him shoot a bunch of people, and he obviously cares about his daughter.
I didn't like that particular section of Deadshot's life because
that was a 2-mic section.
Before that, before he found out that he had a daughter, he didn't give a rat's, he didn't care.
Right.
He was just a cold assassin. Then later on, he found out that he had a daughter, and then he got more sentimental about it. So I wish they could have just...
See, to me, I liked the version of Arrow of Deadshot. I wish DC, or that Time Warner, would allow them to develop the Suicide Squad in that show instead of saying, no, we're doing a Suicide Squad movie, and you can't have them at all. So we're going to kill them off on Arrow.
Right.
So if they're going to keep the things separate, then they need to allow them to have a TV version of these things and a movie version.
Right.
The Enchantress I thought was cool at first, but then she changed at the end, and she got this big headdress on, and all I could think about after that was...
Ghostbusters?
No, I'm watching Queen of the Damned.
Oh, yeah.
Remember the outfit she had on?
Yeah.
It was
Spot on.
very similar,
Yeah.
So I'm continually watching that and just thinking Queen of the Damned throughout the rest of the movie.
So Suicide Squad is pretty hot right now. Civil War in comics. We'll touch base on comics on a comic-related podcast. Civil War is somewhat still pretty hot.
So if you haven't seen Suicide Squad and you're kind of on the fence whether or not you want to see it, I would just wait for it to come out on, Blu-ray.
Terry's going to give that how many mics?
I'm going to give it, about 3 mics, maybe a little bit less. It's a lot like Superman Batman. It's a very dysfunctional movie.
See, I enjoy movies. I'm sticking with 4 mics.
If you have
it's not the greatest, but it's not the worst.
If you have a Cinemark, every Tuesday, I believe, is $5 movies.
Yeah.
Go check it out then.
The one in Broken Arrow, the Warren Theater, I think Wednesdays is $5.
Wednesdays is $5 movies too. So if you have a Warren Theater, go check it out on a matinee or something. Don't waste $8.50 to $12 to $20 to go see it
in 3D for like 17 or IMAX.
So yes, as Eric was saying, Civil War, great series back when it first came out. The first Civil War miniseries, really good. This one, unfortunately, for me, is just a rehash and a poor man's version of the original.
Talking about Civil War II.
Civil War II, right? Yes, Civil War II is a poor rehash of something that was really good.
It is. It's rehashed. The story is a little trite, but for some reason I'm finding it an enjoyable read.
Right. What's bad is that, and we were talking earlier, books that are tying into this, dealing with specific points that happened in Civil War, the story is so bad that those writers are fixing issues that has happened.
What specific issues?
Well, like with the whole She-Hulk thing. As we said, spoilers, She-Hulk almost dies. She does flatline, so I guess technically she does die. But then she's gone on to something else. Well, in A-Force, it kind of changes it a bit and fixes the problem.
Well, I don't see the problem. I don't think it just ran off to anything else.
Well, it's just that,
it was just continuing the flow of the story.
It did. It went on. Right. But I'm just saying that story was
really well.
But the story was the Bendis' writing on this was bad. It's not good.
It was?
Well, when other writers, as I say, are fixing his problems.
Well, you just mentioned a problem that didn't seem like it needed fixing.
For those,
I thought it read pretty good. I've read Civil War.
Yeah.
Too.
It's basically the same story.
Are you just going and looking for the books that supposedly are correcting?
No, I'm just saying that you asked for an example, and I cited my example.
And I didn't find the example very
You haven't read the book, obviously.
I haven't read that book.
There
I've
you
read
go.
Civil War 2.
Now, let's go. So, obviously, you like Civil War 2.
I didn't
and
say it
if
was
I'm correct,
story.
it's going to be what? 4 Mike for you? Maybe 5 Mike?
I give it a Minority Report. Oh, wait. Maybe that's what Civil War 2 is.
It's a very... It's
bunch of precogs.
Surprisingly, it's an interesting but very easy read. It's nothing too in-depth.
So you don't have to think about it.
Yeah, like most of the
6
stuff,
and
you're like, I
under,
don't think
you're
too much about
perfectly
it.
fine. 6 years old, you got this.
If you just read the Civil War the miniseries, the regular miniseries, you'll be fine. If you want to broaden it and actually understand more and see how bad the story is, read the
So the story doesn't get bad until you read something else.
Yeah,
So just read Civil War 2.
Yeah.
That's just it. I don't think both of us don't collect a lot of Marvel right now.
Really, right now.
There's a lot of titles we're just not finding are interesting to us. So I wanted to keep up with what's going on in Civil War 2. So
I'm not saying I'm keeping up with it. I
didn't say you weren't. I just wanted to keep up with Civil War 2. I didn't want to jump into all these other books because that would just mean more books you have to read or buy.
Right.
And
Your
that's more money.
Crossover problems.
Right. And I'm not a fan of crossovers. And I think a lot of people are tired of crossovers. So I'm just reading Civil War 2. And Civil War 2, as a standalone, without reading any other books, has been an enjoyable read.
Okay. So how many mics?
I would give it about 3.5.
That's the highest score ever.
Wow.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
So he likes bad Bendis books, basically is what he's saying.
Well, he thinks all Bendis books are bad, probably.
No. His Ultimate Spider-Man
did
was
like
really
his Ultimate
good.
Spider-Man,
His Guardians of the Galaxy were really good. Torso, Powers, a.k.a. Goldfish. Those are all great books
Well, think about Civil War 2. I mean, I was finding that I mainly like Tony Stark is on one side and Carol Danvers is basically on the other side.
Whose side do you deal with?
I like elements of both sides.
Okay.
But both of them, especially Carol Danvers, she is just you just want to choke her.
Here's a problem I've noticed.
Not literally.
No.
Terry's a nice guy.
It's funny that Tony's against Mosaic and his his power and everything.
Mosaic?
Ulysses.
I'm sorry. Yeah, Ulysses. Sorry. Mosaic's a new character.
He said he read
Mosaic's
the book.
an Inhuman.
Well, he's an Inhuman that's going to be coming out
Ulysses
soon.
is also an Inhuman.
Yes.
Marvel no longer has
but yeah, it was
mutants.
okay when he did that back in the 90s with ForceWorks.
Right.
Which ForceWorks is probably the best series you've ever read.
Yeah, Adele enjoyed that.
I never read any of them.
Issue number 1, amazing.
The issue 1 that kind of folded out.
It was a gimmicky cover for sure. A guy named Seth would love it.
Oh, that Mark guy, he loves those gimmicks.
Oh,
he's
man,
in
Mark,
the gimmick group.
Mark,
isn't
he's probably got 87 copies of that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one book.
We touched on this in our first episode we did. Frank Cho not leaving willingly, kicked off a Wonder Woman. He has actually recently found work at doing Harley Quinn.
So he has a paycheck.
He does have,
don't
he,
go to his GoFundMe anymore.
Yeah, and he.
Well, we want to touch on why did he leave?
Well,
originally?
I thought we kind of touched that before, but for those who weren't listening, who just found us, he was kicked off by Rucka that Rucka didn't like his cheesecake covers and that he was doing.
Well, we don't know that he didn't like that. We think he had some personal issue. At least that's what it seems like. He had a personal issue with Cho himself, not necessarily his artwork.
And that could be it too. But anyway,
which he was contract for 12 issue and only got 6?
24 actually. 24, the first 2 years they were going to do variants. Anyway, so Frank Cho has moved on to Harley Quinn covers, and he's also going to be doing the new Reborn book. with Mark Millar and Capullo. And so they've brought in Jenny Frison is going to be the
That's how you
cover
pronounce
artist.
her name. I always
Yeah.
Frinzen. I don't know how you pronounce her name, but yeah.
Ginny F.
While I hate the way Frank Cho had to leave or left, I do like Jenny's art. She's beautiful artist. My favorite is the stuff that she's done with Red Sonja.
Well, she's also done the Vampirella variants.
She's done a lot.
With Dynamite, which is really nice. Yes.
So sorry, Cho, you left. They
Yeah.
did pick up Jenny Frison.
Hey, Cho needs to go back and do Liberty Meadows.
He could.
Yes.
What other new books you guys finding pretty hot?
I think Dow's a big Hellboy fan.
Oh, the Hellboy. Dark Horse has announced that they're going to do a third original graphic novel for Hellboy.
What do you think of the movies?
I actually loved the movie. I thought they were really
pretty
fun.
good.
Yeah.
Did you like the movies,
like
Terry?
3 mics.
No, three mics. Listen to this guy.
Yes.
That's
pretty good.
Mignola, I believe, is just doing the covers. So I don't believe he's doing
Yes, he's just doing the
Just
covers. And
probably helping co-write it.
is it Gianni? I can't.
Yeah,
is that pronounced?
Gary Gianni.
Gary
Yes.
Gianni is
Really,
doing the
really
art,
good artist. Yes.
and Dave Stewart is doing the color.
Isn't X-Men 2 Hellboy's first appearance?
Yes and no. There's actually 3 books that you kind of need to pick up for his first appearance.
Okay.
The San Diego Comic-Con book, the Next Men that you mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
and the what is it called? The Dime
Press.
Press.
Mhm. But really, most people go after the San Diego Comic-Con 2 and Hellboy.
Yeah.
Or the next
Next
Men.
Men,
Next
yeah.
Men, yeah.
Well, the Dime Press was more of a
Fanzine.
oh
kind of
no,
thing.
not more of a it wasn't really Hellboy. I don't think it's sort of a prototype Hellboy.
Right.
Prototype, so that's what I'm
So Spidey Deadpool number 8.
Big
It's not
things
just the
happening.
issue after
No, it's not. Yeah, exactly. Big things happening with that. One, Spider-Man gets a new costume.
Spidey gets a new costume.
There's a new debut of a new character called Itty Bitty.
Itty bitty.
I'm really looking forward to that because
I am. Spider-Man dies.
he does die. Yes.
And a new villain.
Yes.
Who's the
What's
new
the new villain's name?
Oh, the new villain. What is his name? Let's see here. Patient Zero.
Patient Zero.
Hmm.
Related to the Shadow.
But the most interesting thing is that he dies, and that could open up a new can of worms.
Well, because
or
he runs.
rehash a new can of worms.
He runs into who? Runs
Mephisto.
into Mephisto.
Why are you asking me? But if you remember back, there was a little pact between him and Mephisto.
No, it wasn't with him.
That's
it was
right.
It was with
That's
Mary
right.
Jane and,
Mary Jane.
and yes.
But it involved Mephisto
It
because
did involve
Mephisto had
Mephisto
the
and
power to be
Peter.
able to do that.
Right, but Mary Jane made the deal, not Peter.
Right.
So Peter did, and he doesn't even know she made a deal.
Right.
So that's
Basically,
could be interesting.
Getting rid of some memories so that he didn't
Right.
remember that he was married to Mary Jane.
Mhm.
What else did he not remember?
That was about it.
Was that it?
was it. Yeah. But to save Aunt May and to save
Right, to
yes.
save Aunt May.
Yeah.
So now that he's died, he's starting to get some memories back, possibly.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. Which is kind of funny that they're Joe Kelly and them are dealing with the new current history and still and still dealing with the old. So they're kind of mixing both histories together.
Well, you hated that the way that all that transpired was just hacked up to it was magic.
Oh, you hated it too.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
most people
everyone
did.
did, yeah.
It's magic. That
Yeah.
explains everything.
So do you think
So
Itty
he-
Bitty will be a big character?
Only time will tell.
You said the grow.
So,
Zing.
but Spider-Man dies, and the reason for the new costume, he comes back, and there's somebody has taken up the mantle of Spider-Man. They're pretending to be Spider-Man, and so he's taking on this new costume. It's a black and red, so sort of a throwback to the Venom costume, but in red, I guess, from the Spider-Man costume. It looks a lot like the Ultimate Spider-Man costume a little bit.
Maybe $29.99.
Not a lot, but it's got elements of it. It's basically black and red costume.
Yeah.
So,
Spider symbols.
Speaking of return characters and stuff, Psycho Pirate.
yep, Psycho Pirate's back.
He's back. He's been in the Batman series. Him and Hugo Strange working together. He's got an odd history with the DC books. With DC,
He's an odd character. isn't
he's an
he?
odd character. He is the only one to remember, and Morrison played with this too. He's the only one to remember the original universe before Crisis on Infinite Earths.
And that's basically kind of what drove him mad because he remembered all this
exactly,
stuff, and that's why he was in.
He remembered the multiverses, and he was the only one that remembered Infinite Crisis also, and all that.
Did you guys read the Nightwing #1?
Yes, they introduced a new partner/villain, which was pretty good.
What was his name? It was a bird or something. It wasn't Ravager. I just got through reading it not too long ago.
Or Riptide or something?
Raptor, I
No,
think.
Raptor,
Yeah, Raptor.
sounds
Yeah,
good.
it was Raptor.
Oh, that's not
Yeah.
a bird though, is it?
No.
I don't know.
Maybe related.
But they were talking about Hawks and stuff.
Well, they had the
Because
meeting of the
Court of
Owls.
Owls, yeah.
Court of
still
Owls.
the Court of Owls, yeah.
So,
I thought he had a name.
do you think Nightwing will go down a more dark path? I mean, he's kind of treading the
I didn't
fence
like
line
I didn't
right
like the
now.
Rebirth Nightwing that came out. That story was kind of whiny, but these next two issues, 1 and 2, have been a pretty good read.
Okay,
I enjoyed them quite a bit, and so he's apparently
He's walking a fine line.
He's going undercover. Yeah, he's
kind of
sort
balancing
going
both
undercover
sides, yeah.
with the Court of Owls and trying to basically, I guess, play they call it the long game in there,
Mm-hmm.
trying to bust out a lot of information about the Court of Owls and just bring them to light. And so they team him up with this guy, and he's sort of supposedly on the other side, but once you get to the end of it, you're not really sure where he stands. Maybe he's playing a long game too, but we don't know exactly what his game is. But the most interesting thing, though, is the introduction, I think, of Back to Detective as Psycho Pirate. That's going to be, I think that's going to play out in the future of the next,
Well, and plus them using Hugo Strange, who's a very underutilized villain in the Batman series. You find out that he kind of was responsible for Gotham.
Yeah, for Gotham basically getting blown up. Well, you could actually say there was Amanda Waller who got them
No, I mean
out.
Gotham, the character Gotham. Gotham boy, Gotham
right.
man,
Or
where
your
you want to
favorite
call
new
it.
character.
Yeah.
But yeah, Amanda Waller got them out and was going to use them for her Suicide Squad, Task Force X, whatever. And surprise, surprise, they decided to go out, go off on their own and, as usual, do their own thing. And
Which with most hardened criminals that are crazy, I wouldn't see that happening. But maybe it's different.
they start creating havoc in Gotham, and we have Hugo Strange and Psycho Pirate mess with Gotham guy, and he goes ravaging, killing people. So.
Do you think with Psycho Pirate remembering everything that happened, do you think he will start influencing some of the main characters?
Yeah, I think it's going to influence this new universe.
Well, and I think what
because
you're going to...
it was the Titans that took the time away.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he's like the one cog in their clock that they didn't count on, kind of deal?
I think
with
you're
the
going to see.
year arc kind of deal?
I think you're going to see big things with him, and this is actually the first clues to the whole 2-year mystery.
Right.
So
that would be pretty interesting. What other cool stuff coming out?
Well, if you want to get more interactive with Marvel's opened up the polls, and you can vote for your own. You can vote for a new Marvel Legends wave coming out from Hasbro figures.
Are you big into action figures at all? Do you have any?
I don't have room for action figures. I have too many comic books, but if I did, I would like to get some figures.
So who would you vote for?
Well,
Who's left?
it's now narrowed down to the 4 finalists. So if any of these interest you, we have Songbird, Typhoid Mary, Citizen V, and White Rabbit to be one of the characters. You can go to Marvel and vote on which character you like the best. You'd like to see a figure of.
Who would you vote for?
for me, I'd say Songbird out of all
Songbird?
4 of them. Yeah, Songbird or Typhoid Mary.
Songbird or Typhoid Mary.
would be pretty cool.
I can't picture who White Rabbit is. So.
Oh, but you
White
want to
Rabbit
follow
was
the White Rabbit.
Wasn't she in the? I can't remember if that's the first person, but in Finch's Detective, she appeared, and she's on the cover.
This is Marvel that they're
Oh, no, what am I thinking? Sorry.
Marvel now
I'm
makes
thinking
detective.
rabbits, and I'm thinking
Marvel now makes detective
No.
comics.
Yeah, but she because she looks a lot like that particular character. So.
Mockingbird is also in DC. If you didn't know,
Yeah, I know. I need
Black Canaries in Marvel.
Well,
Dogs and
Crazy.
cats living together. What's this
yeah,
one
I
coming
know
to?
it's going crazy.
Marvel now publishes Detective Comics. It's okay.
Well, they might.
I do.
Did you
No, they'd run it real quick.
to touch back on Suicide? Did you see the theory on that the Joker in that movie is actually Robin?
I've heard that.
It was pretty interesting because they show where you see the Batman Superman movie where the Joker suit is, where Robin's suit is, and you see the 2 punctures on his chest. Joker has those as well, and how in the previous time Robin has become, Joker or a villain, whatever, in Batman's world.
Well, he's become Red Hood.
Red Hood, and,
but he's kind of a mercenary, though. Yeah.
right. Which would be interesting if they kind of expanded on that as far as with the DC cinematic universe.
Right.
Maybe not so much with comic books. What other rebirth? Titans came out. We had the Red Hood Outlaws come out. What other rebirths you guys picked up?
Deathstroke. The new
Deathstroke.
series has just started.
How do you feel about Deathstroke?
I think he could be the badass of the DC universe.
He could be
He
the
could give
Deadpool
Batman.
of the DC
No,
universe.
he would actually give Batman a run for his money.
Think so?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, it just seems like anybody gives Batman a run for their money nowadays. It seems like.
In the new Batman, All-Star Batman just came out this week, done by
Snyder.
Scott Snyder and John Romita Jr. We
That's
get the reintroduction of the Black Spider.
Right.
He was in there. Yeah.
This is kind of a big book, because I mean, everybody was, loved this previous Snyder story in Batman, so they're looking forward to this. And what did you think about
I
it?
liked it. I thought it was a little disjointed, but I think it was meant to be that way.
Sort of a Pulp Fiction type of jumping.
Yeah,
around.
Okay.
exactly. Yes. Real interesting. And it's also the first time you see the new Duke
Yes.
in costume.
Yeah.
And look like him getting trained.
Like you said, it's a little disjointed. I thought it was just okay. I was expecting too much, and it was just an okay issue. I didn't like these new guns on Black Spider at all.
Well, they're appendages. He's a spider.
I know. It looked stupid.
So
But you're okay with him on Dr. Octopus.
Not really, no.
Okay.
he loves Doc Ock.
He likes
He's
Doc Ock.
a huge fan.
He is. He's got a tattoo on his on
I
his back.
know.
It's right on my
It's pretty
spine.
weird.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Whoa.
I said back.
Whoa. No. So with all the new rebirths and current back issues, what are your hot picks, Terry, for reads and market value going up?
Wow. For reads, I'm really enjoying Detective. Titans has been pretty good. I don't know about market-wise yet on these books.
I'm saying Walking Dead was a 108. The first Ezekiel
Mhm.
picked a really nice one up last weekend. It's going to be a hot book. It's going up.
That's not Rebirth. We're talking about Rebirth.
No,
he
I said any other back
any,
issue.
okay.
Yeah, any
It's a
back
good
issues.
book right now.
Any of them.
Get it $30, $40 range. It's going to be a good book.
Oh.
With the new Walking Dead series coming out, I think that's a recent book that's going to go good. Any Rebirth books you guys liking, variant-wise, that are kind of shooting up?
Well, there's a lot of, as far as just regular the books that come into the store, the regular ones, there's, all the variants are, I think, equal. You can get equal amount of.
Yeah.
The ones that may shoot up are going to be the ones that these stores have been having exclusive
Right,
for
the
their
selected
store.
ones, yep.
And of those, there were a couple that I liked, like the Turner one.
Mhm.
And Benitez did a variant
Right.
of Harley as well. That's pretty nice. There's one other that I picked up, but I can't think of who it was now. But some of those might or may not be of value just because there'd be more limited run of those.
Now, Dow, you were talking about a character in the Superman series that dies.
Yeah, Superwoman comes out this week, written by Phil Jimenez.
Yeah, I can't even read it now. You just spoiled it. You didn't.
And, hey, sorry.
We warned you.
We warned you.
We warned you
I know.
about spoilers.
You warned me.
It's kind of it's New 52 Lois Lane and Lana, who are kind of something goes on with Superman's power previously and kind of gives them powers. So you got two superwomen running around fighting their villain, and ends up one dies.
So it's basically a good guy fights a bad guy. Bad guy wins. Good guy dies.
Good guy dies. Yeah.
It's something you really don't see much in comic books,
No.
but I guess it happens. Do you think it'll be a hot pick?
I don't know. I think it could be if they let it stay, it could
Okay.
be.
Going back to All-Star Batman, one point I wanted to mention, I know this is stupid, but it just irked me. Batman doesn't fist bump.
Do you even fist bump?
No, not really.
Okay. See,
He might.
I just thought that was stupid.
Yeah.
He's like,
I had no problem.
It's
with
like
it.
the new Lovable Batman. He was like talking to Gordon. I'm doing something new, and I'm hopefully better. And fist bumps, and
He's gotta catch up.
70s, 60s, 70s Batman, no.
Batman's
80s
112.
Batman, maybe not.
He's got to catch up.
yeah,
the new
Bruce
universe
Wayne-
Batman.
Bruce
yeah,
Wayne's
he
died 8
probably
times.
fist bumps. He probably also drinks
No.
Starbucks. You probably have
Yeah.
a problem with that too.
yeah, I do.
He likes
Batman,
iced coffee.
Batman doesn't fist bump, and he
Hey,
doesn't.
he's probably a vegetarian.
he
You don't
doesn't
want that
drink-
either
He doesn't drink.
Yeah.
because you're
Starbucks.
anti-vegetarian. I know.
And the Batmobile is actually a Prius. Batman is
Have you
now
ever
more.
caught the robbers that were running around in the Prius?
No. See, he saw that
See?
commercial and was like, "Oh man, Alfred, we got to get one of these."
That's also like I had said in an earlier episode. Batman doesn't care what's going outside of Gotham for the most part. It's
Batman really.
he's out there.
You're
He's
passionate
like,
about.
look, we got to
Batman
get
cares.
this.
caring
We got to
about
get this done. I got to get back to Gotham. Stuff's going on in Gotham.
It's Gotham.
In
Gotham.
maybe in Gotham, all they do is fist bump.
They may
You know?
do it. Yeah, you don't
They
know.
don't like shaking hands.
Have you
They
been
got
to Gotham lately?
Yeah, that place is
Okay.
I haven't been able
nasty.
to get there lately.
It is nasty. That place is so gross.
I told you. A lot of things have been announced of characters in the movies.
What do you guys think of Jeff Johns being DC?
Getting to become the president, wasn't
Yep.
he? Or no,
CEO?
basically, yeah. It's like he's step below
Yeah.
the president. Yeah, I think that'd be really good. He's still he's taking a more active role with
Yeah.
the writing of the movies and stuff, and I think good things are going to come from that.
I don't know. He can be bribed pretty easily.
You think?
Just set a plate of Oreos in front of him.
Oh, brother. Do you think he'll make a pretty good impact on everything?
I think so. Real nice guy too. But yeah.
Anyway, what were you saying before?
I was saying that
You
there's a
were
lot of.
saying-
I was just
Oh.
saying that there's a lot of announcement of characters being announced for the movies and TV shows.
Are you looking more towards Justice League with all their characters? Because in Suicide Squad, you did see Flash for a brief second. Then at the end,
Right.
you see the picture of him
Which I did
again,
like that,
and then
And
picture
the
of
end credit
Aquaman.
scene.
Yeah, the end credit scene, and Aquaman 2. Are you looking forward to Justice League?
I'm hoping that after Justice League and after Batman versus Superman, they've learned and they're going to get rid of whoever's been doing these movies.
Well, I
And-
didn't like the news I heard though. We get Man of Steel 2,
Right, we're getting Man of Steel 2. So I'm hoping Justice League is going to be better though. I'm crossing my fingers.
which hopefully maybe that'll be the resurrection of Superman. Maybe he'll be dead in the whole Justice League movie.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe that could be.
They did allude,
Unfortunately, it's about.
if Superman comes back, is he going to be a good guy or a bad guy? Do you think with all the movies, through history, you got the 80s, you had a bunch of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone, Commando, Terminator type movies, which everyone was really pumped into, and those types of action figures and the
Commando was
toy
awesome.
guns. Yeah, it was really cool. Then after that, market dumped on that stuff. This is a really good time for comic books because, basically you have till 2020, 2021 of movies announced. Do you think overall people on, 2021 will finally be so tired of superheroes that people are just like, get rid of
Eventually-
it?
I think they
eventually,
will.
yeah.
They'll hit a fatigue. Yeah.
Yeah, too much of a good thing becomes
A bad thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people get sick of it. That's the thing I'm a little worried about. We've talked about other shows grading comics. Grade them now and sell them in 2020. Because in 2021, no one wants them. But, I mean, you have seen, late 90s, mid to late 90s was horrible for comics.
Right.
The market's dumped on comics. I myself hope that doesn't happen within a few years, but it definitely could be.
Well, I mean,
I'm glad they're highlighting
people
it.
still want to read, and they want to be, explore, some imaginary world.
Yeah.
So comics are still going to be viable, and whether or not they're still on paper or not in 20 years, who knows? But
Right. I think they'll still be
they're
on
still
paper.
going to have comics.
Yeah.
People are going to get tired of the superhero and supervillain movies. Eventually, it's going to start quieting down a little bit, and that's also going. And how long that's going to be is going to depend on the quality of the movies. If DC continues to make subpar movies, then yeah, it's probably going to be faster. But if they get better and Marvel continues their streak of good movies, it'll stay a little bit longer.
There is one thing that I've seen, touch a little on it. We can take another episode to touch more on it. That both big two companies have done. And Faith, who does Faith?
Valiant.
Valiant does Faith. So 3 companies, Image does too. But brought more female characters into lead roles. You think of 80s Marvel. You got, Savage She-Hulk. You had Spider-Woman, had a short series. But now you see tons of female characters, which I think will help prolong the hotness of comic books. You
I think-
get women and mothers
Well,
and
the
stuff like
female-
that.
Yeah, the female characters have always been popular, but here lately they've just
Well, they're getting their
not
more
even lately. I mean,
standalones.
they're more
You
they've
know?
exploded. More women, like you said, are coming into the reading comics.
Black Widow has got a standalone. There was
Well, and
a bunch
what's
of others.
funny is a lot of readers on those aren't females.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys are reading them. That actually is definitely a show we're going to come back and touch on. Probably
Men that like
in
girls
a few
in
weeks.
comics.
Well, no, not that. Just the gender and the diversification of the comic industry, and we'll touch on that in a few weeks, I'm sure. What's Marvel doing now?
What's Marvel not doing?
Well, you were saying something about the
Yeah, I was just talking about it. There's been a whole plethora of characters
something with
announced.
Hawkeye.
Oh, the Hawkeye. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. I'm kind of looking forward to it if it harkens back to DC's Green Arrow. Hawkeye is basically going out on the road, and I think with Red Wolf maybe. I can't remember exactly, but
Yeah,
doing more of a down to earth, helping out the common man
Right.
type of story. And if it harkens back to the to the Grail's Green Arrow series, which was a remarkable series, I think it could be really good.
Wait,
The only thing I wonder about is are people going to care about that? I mean, most people do like the more superheroes, more
But
powers.
if you read the Matt Fraction Hawkeye series, he was the superintendent, or he owned this building, and he was dealing with the day to day with the building and the sweatsuit,
Right.
the sweatsuit mafia,
Yes.
bro. You should know that, bro.
So
Anyway, so yeah, if it goes back to the Green Arrow, Green Lantern, hard traveling heroes, it'll be really good.
I hope so.
Very cool. Very cool. Some pretty cool new stuff. Civil War is still, out on the shelves. DC Rebirth, of course, is still out on the shelves. Pick up a lot of the titles you like. The Fringe Ticklers, A Detective, and Batman Man.
There's one story that's been floating around. I think has caught a lot of people's attention. Was the Tampa Bay Comics Con.
Oh yeah, the guy that lost got the
$85,000 worth
yeah.
of comics. Spider-Man 1 was in there.
Yeah, a
Amazing
couple extra
Fantasy,
scenes.
Two
yeah.
Hulk #1 and X-Men #1, just among some of the books. It was at the Tampa Bay Comic Con, and it was Rick Whitlock or Whitelock who he thought were stolen possibly or just misplaced at first. Couldn't find it. $85,000 worth of comics, and so a lot of the community kind of gathered around him and advertised it, and so people were aware of it. And he apparently got a call.
Anonymously.
Anonymous
It came up
call.
private name.
He's
private
star
number.
67 that.
Yeah, but somebody had the books.
It was actually another dealer that was there.
But we don't know it was another
yeah,
dealer. do we?
he was
It was
a
an
dealer.
anonymous deal.
It was anonymous.
Supposedly it was another dealer, and they had just got their stuff because they had the stuff shipped to the Tampa Bay deal, the convention where the place was.
What was the guy? Whitlock? What was his first name?
The guy who had the stuff stolen was Rick Whitlock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe.
So Rick's box said $85,000 worth of
yeah,
comics.
exactly.
Anonymous dealer was like, I think that's what I
It's
thought.
mine. Yeah, and it can happen, but
Yeah.
So he honestly got a hold of them. And it was probably rightfully a little bit scared because of all the news that's been circulated about this.
Yep.
And he didn't want to meet up with the guy. He didn't want to drop him off anywhere. So he wound up, I guess, anonymously FedExing him to Rick. So
and last I saw, he did receive the books.
he received his books. So
So that's pretty cool.
that
a lot of
mystery
times
has
that
been
doesn't
solved.
happen.
Yeah, a lot of times.
There's
it
a
does
lot
not
of,
happen.
unfortunately, there's a lot of people that, steal, from you plain sight or
Well, and
when you're not
honestly,
looking.
he knew that that they would, if they were stolen, they would come up to sell. I mean, you don't just see Amazing Fantasy 15 in a 5.0 and a 4.0 condition, CGC graded.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean those are X-Men 1, Spider-Man 1, Hulk 1. Those are all big books. That would definitely fly fly on people's radars.
Yeah, exactly.
I know a lot of times if people get their own books stolen, with pawn shops, if you call like the Department of Consumer Credit in Oklahoma and report it, they'll send out a thing to pawn shops.
Really?
So that way you don't have to call all your local pawn shops. Which I don't know if they would do it for comics. I know some pawn shops will take comics, but if that ever happens, make sure. A lot of times, selected areas will have Facebook groups, but go to comic book stores. And 99 out of 100 comic book owners are going to be very legit and very helpful.
Well, and I had something similar to this happen, not to that degree. Years ago, I had a 9.0 Captain America 100 CGC graded. Guy stole it off my table. I wasn't looking, and no one else was watching. I was dealing with something else, and he just walked up, had his books there, and walked off with it. And about 2 months after that happened, I got a message on eBay saying, "Hey, I think my friend stole your book." And come to lo and behold, yeah, I met the guy. I met him down in Sherman, and he had his parents with him, and I had my girls with me. And yeah, he apologized, gave me back the book, And
That's cool.
I didn't press charge. I did call the police because it was a $400 or $500 book.
Yeah.
What book was that?
It was Captain America 100 in a 9.0 condition.
First cap back.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was, and I filed a police report, and I didn't press charges, because I got the book back. But, anyway.
Well, before we close that up, let's talk about, there was a little poll released of the 10 big characters that have not been released in Marvel universes or may have been released in some form or version. And
Marvel Universe film?
Yeah, in the film, in the movies, and just I'll read off what their 10 big characters they think needs to be introduced or in some degree reintroduced, and let us know what characters you think need to be in the Marvel Universe movies. So they had Galactus, Nova, She-Hulk, Miles Morales, Spider-Woman, X-23, Namor, Cable, Adam Warlock, and Kamala Khan.
Well, you're going to get Cable in Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
Right?
You're going to get Miles Morales in Spider-Man Homecoming. You will get...
Galactus, never again.
Galactus was a cloud.
Yeah.
So we did have Galactus.
Yeah.
get X-23 in the next Wolverine movie.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
hopefully X-23 will show up. Now, does Fox own the rights to her?
She's a mutant, so yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Well,
So-
see, technically, though, is she not? She's a clone. So there is actually, I think, you could almost, the gray area, you could almost argue that, no, she's not.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
So any characters you would like to see that weren't on this list introduced in the movies?
Yes.
And those are?
And I would love to see in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. the female Scorpion. As I've said in a previous show, it's a good character. She's a super spy. She's just that kind of thing. Be a good fit for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Eric?
No, I think a few of those. I think Nova would be a cool movie. I think that would be one that I think could be an Ant-Man. I think Namor. I like Namor. I think he's way underappreciated, way undervalued. I mean, he's Marvel's answer to Aquaman. But I think you could make it pretty cool.
Well, John
Maybe.
Byrne did in the 80s. He had that wonderful series where he was the CEO of a research company.
Right.
And he was he was doing ocean research and other things. I think that would work really well.
Mhm. Batmite could be a good character. I think you would have fun with Batmite in the movies. You would give that a four ranked movie.
I don't know that I would have Batmite.
Moon Knight in the movies.
Definitely, my pick would be to bring Moon Knight into the movies.
Moon Knight would be cool as maybe not a
I
lead
think Moon
role.
Knight would be a great Netflix character with his split personalities. Get really gritty and in depth with Moon Knight. Just be a brilliant character to bring.
What about X-Force as a movie?
Supposedly they're doing that.
Oh.
So it could be pretty interesting.
Never mind.
I was thinking Wildcats maybe.
No wild.
Actually, the Wildcats should be coming back in the comics, so you could
Yes,
see them
Wildcats
show up.
are going to be coming back in
Yeah.
the comics. Yeah.
No capitalize on it.
So yeah, let us know.
Or Spawn. Spawn would be a cool.
I heard
I
something
think-
about
I think
him
Spawn
doing a
movie.
new Spawn
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, McFarlane's been posting us videos about it that he's he's working on a script to have a new Spawn movie.
Yeah, I think that'd be a pretty good movie.
Um,
Spawn's underappreciated.
Black Manta has been announced to be in
That's
a
the
movie
Aquaman
in
villain,
the,
which
in the
makes
Aquaman
sense.
villain. Yeah, makes
Yeah.
perfect sense.
Killer Flounder, Marvel version. They
Mirror,
start
Mirror Master's
bringing
been
the-
announced to be
The
coming
Disney characters.
into the
into
Flash TV
Marvel.
show. Mad Hatter is going to be in Gotham.
Gotham, right?
Yeah.
Gotham.
Savitar will be in the Flash. He'll be the Dark Speedster.
Who else has been announced? Well, not in the DC or Marvel universe, but maybe Jason Momoa is going to be the new Crow, possibly.
I've seen something about that. Yeah.
I think they could do that movie pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one wasn't horrible. With Brandon Lee.
The first one was brilliant.
Yeah.
That was a 4-star movie.
Whoa. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know if I would go
I
4-star.
think we just broke the
Before
internet
my-
on
that
that
was-
one.
that was
I want to go 4
4
Mike on that
movie.
one. But
Yeah.
that's French's.
So yeah,
Take on
let us know about any characters that you'd like to see coming to the universe and why.
We'll touch base on some more new characters, some diversification, and some future episodes. Make sure you go to our Facebook. It's Comic Book Straight Talk. Message us any kind of show details, comments. You love us, you hate us. We're on YouTube, Comic Book Straight Talk, Google Play, iTunes, also collectorcon.org. We want to thank you for your time. Check back with us next Sunday, and we'll be covering the latest in comic book news then.
And as I said in the previous post,
The prizes.
Prizes, yes.
Prizes.
For you listeners. If you send us a suggestion for a topic or a show idea and we use it, message us. If you're local, come by Comic Empire of Tulsa. On a Saturday, I'm here, and I'll have your prize.
Or contact one of
Or
us.
contact
Right.
us, one of
see
us.
see how we can get it to you.
Isn't the grand prize like if we pick 2 of their suggestions, they get to go on a date with you?
I'm not sure about that one. I haven't spoke to my lawyer yet on that one, so we'll see on that.
A
But
date
anyway.
with Captain Dahlia.
Yeah, message us. We'll get your out of state. We'll see about getting it shipped to you. So I'm Captain Dalian.
Carry the French Tickler French.
And I'm the